Hello everybody, sorry I had to unmute there. I hope you're all having a good week, and I don't know if I've expressed this, but I'm a huge fan of Disney and Pixar. So today I'm going to rank all the Pixar movies. So this is M, which is Masterpiece. A's are movies that I think do almost everything well. They might do one thing and it prevents it from being a masterpiece, and they might do one thing a little wrong. B's are movies that are just movies that I do like, but they just do a couple of things wrong. Like they don't have the best, like, like they have a good plot. Well, they have a okay plot, but they don't, and they do a bunch of other things well. And then these are movies that have that don't have good plots, but they do one or two things really, really well. These are movies that don't have good plots, but they still have one thing keeping it from an F. F is movies that aren't good in any way. And I'm judging it from Pixar standards in this video. Okay, everybody enjoy. So here's Toy Story. First one. Has movie that's went around a lot from A's to B's. I'm not counting this on childhood nostalgia, and even if I was, I don't really remember growing up with this movie. But my mom always says I did. So I'm gonna put it in the B's for now. In the A for now. I really, I think that the plot could have been better. The humor is miss in my opinion. Actually, and I like some of the themes. Like the whole side plot of Fuzz and his Space Ranger arc are really good, and Woody's arc are really good. So I really like the characters in this one. I just wish that the plot was a little bit better. There are some brilliantly written scenes, and also I put it in A. So one thing that's keeping it from the B's right now is the impact that it had on animation today, in my opinion. Okay, now Bug's Life. This is a harder one for me because this movie definitely does not have the best plot, but it does everything else decent. Like its humor is hit and miss. It has good symbolism and metaphors, and yeah, but the plot just really is not good. I'm going to put this in the C's for now. I might move it into the B's later on. I might change my mind on it, but it's just, the plot isn't that good, but I liked the symbolism and metaphors they did. The characters were likable enough, I guess. Like, they just did what they had to do, kinda. And sometimes that would equal, like, things that weren't exactly right. And, yeah, wait, what's Monster Inc. doing in front of Toy Story 2? Toy Story 2 came first. Sorry. Okay, Toy Story 2. I have to say that this one is better than the original Toy Story. It has more humor. The humor was more hit for me. I thought that the story was better. The characters were once again really likable. There could have been more themes, I guess. Well, actually, I guess there were a decent amount of themes. I guess I just don't. I guess sometimes I have trouble catching themes in movies sometimes, and then, yeah, and they introduced new characters perfectly. So, yeah, this is a little bit better. This is better than the original Toy Story, for sure, in my opinion. Okay, Monsters, Inc. Okay, is it better or worse than Toy Story 2? Definitely not a masterpiece. Well, okay. This movie does have, Monsters, Inc. has a better plot than Toy Story 2, in my opinion. It has more stuff going on. The relationship between Boo and Sully was really good. The humor, it's arguably one of the funniest Pixar movies out of all of them, and also it's probably the most creative out of all the Pixar movies. Like, it's probably the most creative of all the unique monsters and all the unique designs and stuff. So yeah, you belong up here in the A's, Monsters Inc. And then I just had it's just a movie that I've seen so many times in the past few years that it was actually in the B's before, but when I thought about it more, it's a movie that I ended up putting in the A's. Okay, Finding Nemo. I adore this movie. It's really, really good. It, okay, I know that I've mentioned the characters a lot, but this one might have the most relatable characters in it. Like if I ever have children, then I hope I watch this movie because it's a moral that I think every parent should know about. Like, you can't just keep a kid protected forever, and like you need to let him go out and live a life and stuff, which is like a very, very good moral because you can't keep them in a bubble forever, or so never get to do anything new or anything. And yeah, the humor is really, really good. It's not as funny as Monsters Inc. and stuff, but I think that's really, really good. The side characters that they throw in, I love. I love the sharks, love the turtles, I love the guys that work together too. I forget that guy's name, but yeah. And then, yeah, there's a lot of things in this movie that just I love, and it does basically everything perfect. It could have been the humor is pretty good, and it's not the funniest out of all the Pixar movies, but it's for sure a funny movie. So it belongs in masterpiece. Incredibles. I love this movie. Like, you don't belong in that. I'll explain why I'm putting it not in a masterpiece. I really wish I could put this in a masterpiece. I love this movie. It's like Monsters Inc. I've seen it countless amounts of times in the last few years, so I could get kind of bored when watching it. But it's nearly a perfect movie in my opinion. It probably would have been. It might have even beaten Nemo if it didn't have one problem. Like the humor is once again good. The characters in their situation are relatable enough. The themes I like the darker themes for adults and stuff. And uh, but the villain is good for sure. Like I like his motivation. I never really understood his plan that much. Like his plan was kill all supers, become a super himself, and then what? Like he said that he's going to, after he has all his fun, he's going to sell all of the technology to like normal citizens. How's that going to harm other people? Like aren't superheroes trying to save the day or something? So I don't understand how that's going to harm other people, and it would actually probably save more lives. So like besides the fact that it's killing superheroes and they actually cause damage in this movie, I really don't understand what his motivation is that much. And I'm not saying that he should have killed all superheroes or anything. Okay, Cars. I know that this is a movie that is loved by a lot of people, so I'm kidding about that. There you go. There's just so much in this movie that I do not like. Like, the cons overweight the pros. That's probably what D means in my opinion. Like, Mater is funny for sure. There's a perfect amount of Mater. The plot isn't that good. I liked the moral about slowing down and living a life and stuff. And, like, enjoying the smaller things and stuff. But, as I said before, there's not that much of a plot. Lightning is a total jerk during the first half of this movie, so it's kind of hard to cheer for him during the last half of the movie during the big race and stuff. So, yeah, it deserves its D in my opinion. Really unlikable main character, not that good of a plot, some good humor, really good moral. Okay, Ratatouille. I might actually change my mind on this. I'm putting Incredibles down here. This is such a hard decision. Why is it so hard for me? Whatever. I'm just gonna do what I planned originally. Ratatouille is a. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to change my mind on that one. Ratatouille does have a lot of pros in it. The humor is good. The main characters are good, are likable enough. The story is really good. But the Incredibles just does the themes so much better. It does themes better. It does a lot so much better. Ratatouille is always going to be up here, but Incredibles is just such a good movie. I cannot help but put it up here in M. And I just don't think Ratatouille deserves to be up here. I just feel like it does not do as much as some of the other movies do. Like, it is definitely a good movie. It's just some of the other movies in the masterpiece area just don't do as many things as Ratatouille. Like, Ratatouille just doesn't do as many things as some of the other movies in the masterpiece area do. Speaking of masterpiece area, wait, actually, I'm joking about that. I bet that's kind of obvious. WALL-E. I watched this movie so many times as a kid. Oh, forgot to get rid of this tab. Sorry. I watched this movie so much when I was a kid. Because my dad freaking loved this movie. Well, he loves this movie. He still does. And now my sister loves this movie. And I can understand why. This movie is basically perfect. The main lead is probably the most likable character out of all these movies. It does have some humor that is good. It has a very, very good moral for basically everybody in the United States. The plot is decent. The plot is pretty good, and it does basically everything perfect. I think I've just seen it too many times to put it up in first place in a masterpiece. Like, although I've seen Incredibles a lot of times, but I've seen Incredibles a lot of times too. I don't know what it is about this movie. It's just not going. There's just something about it that doesn't make me want to put it in the first place. No, I love superhero movies. I think that's why. I think I enjoy the Incredibles a little bit more. Okay, up. Boy. I've played this all out before, but not changing my mind so much. You're definitely better than Toy Story. So first let's figure out, are you better than Monsters, Inc.? Yeah, I guess. I think you are. I like the relationships you do a little bit more. And I like and I think the emotions are a little bit stronger, and I like the humor a little bit. And the humor isn't as good. Like, the humor is good in this movie. It's just not as good as the original Monsters, Inc. Okay. Now, Ratatouille. Such a hard one. What, I had to move Ratatouille down here? I know I'm taking forever with this one. It's just so hard for me with this one. I think that's where it should belong. I think. Like, this isn't one of the movies that I've seen countless amounts of times, like WALL-E, Incredibles, and Monsters, Inc., but it's just a movie I've not gotten sick of. It's a movie that I still love every time I watch it. Like, the emotion is, like, spot on. The themes are pretty good. The characters and their interactions are really, really good. And their development is good. There's a lot of interesting things that I love about this movie. It's probably one of the most adventurous out of all these. Out of all these movies in this part of the list, it's going against these movies, which are very, very adventurous. But it's probably the most adventurous out of all these movies on the list. I think Incredibles it's probably the most adventurous out of all these movies. Incredible size more action, but yeah. And then so yeah, Up beats Ratatouille. In like there's a scene like that perfectly shows show don't tell. Like because they show everything perfectly without telling you anything that's happening. And that just makes the scene amazing, and that scene is just amazing in my opinion. Now, Toy Story 3. Boy, I think that this is going to be harder than before. Yeah, you are a little. I like you a little bit more than Ratatouille, but you're up. There we go. I, I just, I really, really like this movie. There's a lot of things to like about this movie. It, I think that it barely beats Up, or it's a tie with Up, but the motion's really, really good. Probably one of the best villains in this list. Well, wait, no. The best villain in the Toy Story franchise, for sure. Uh, a lot of humor, obviously. This is the first one where the characters are actually in danger. Like, the first one, the characters weren't in all that much danger. In this one, they are. Uh, and and the characters are still really, really likable. Like they still stick together and really, really love each other. Like they seem like a legitimate family, even though they are just toys. And the plot is done decent. The plot is pretty good, and the characters that they put in are really, really good too. I really like the characters that they throw in. So there's a lot of things done right with this movie. I I don't know if it should beat Up. I, that's a very, very hard one for me, but I didn't have trouble. I kind of filmed this one yesterday, but I made a couple of mistakes during it, so I'm refilming it. Yesterday, Toy Story 3 beat Up, and I think Ratatouille beat Up, but I kind of changed my mind on that one, I guess. Okay. Cars 2. A little bit too much mater. Does not seem like a Pixar movie. Has too much, like this torture. There's a lot of gun use, which I was hoping I'd never had to see. Well, I saw gun use in Incredibles a couple times, but torture in a G-rated movie is where I cross the line, pretty much. Okay, now, Brave. Do I like them more than... No. Please. So this movie, this is Pixar's attempt at making a princess movie like Disney does. And it's not really the best attempt. Like, it's not really all that good of a movie. Like, it's... Because, like, the humor is done okay, but after 45 minutes in the film, you could tell what's gonna happen at the end of the movie, obviously. And then, and the humor is done okay. The characters and their interactions are decent. Sometimes they are jerks, but I guess they're decent together. I think that they're better in Cars and stuff. So, yeah. Well, I think that the interactions are better in Cars. Monsters University. I understand why people do not like this movie. I think that's okay. They kind of turned really, really likable characters into jerks, in my opinion. Like, they were likable enough in the original. Like, they had some moments where they were jerks, but in this one, they're just not all that likable. Like, they make a lot of more selfish mistakes. It starts out as a typical college movie. It has a lot of the plot isn't that good. There are some scenes in it that are brilliantly written, and then the moral is like really, really good about like how you may not be able to achieve your dream. And I love how they actually stuck with that moral in Monsters Inc. Like how they didn't change Monsters University that much to how they didn't like change Monsters Inc. up to make Monsters University make sense. Oh yeah. So yeah, the Monsters University, not the best movie, but still better than Cars and not as good as Bugs Life. Inside Out. I adore this movie. I freaking love this movie. It's so freaking good. Like, there's so many ads coming up on my laptop. Sorry about that. I have no idea why that just came up. I love this movie. Probably the most emotional movies out of Pixar, and that is saying a lot. I was saving the word emotional for this one. The characters have good development. Like they start out a little like bit like jerks, but they develop a lot during the movie. There are a lot of emotional and funny moments in this movie. Not the funniest out of all the Pixar movies, but it's definitely a funny movie. So it deserves its place up here. Definitely really, really enjoyable. If you have not seen it, I highly suggest it. Actually, if you haven't seen any of the movies in the A's or B's, then I highly suggest watching them. Okay, The Good Dinosaur. This is a movie that's hated a lot, but I honestly kind of liked it. It doesn't have that good of a plot. Like, you can tell what's going to happen at the end of the movie after like 15 minutes, if you can't tell earlier on and stuff. But they do a lot of other things well. This is probably the best animated Pixar. This is probably the best animated out of all these movies, which is saying a lot. The humor is hit and miss in my opinion. Some of the humor is good, some of them not as good. There's definitely some emotional moments. The characters have some likable and unlikable moments, so it deserves its place up here. Main thing that keeps me into this movie is the humor and animation. The plot isn't that good, but okay. Finding Dory. After the Toy Story movies, this might be the best. This is the best out of all the sequels made by Pixar after the Toy Story movies. I really, really liked this movie. It is just really I do like this movie for sure. Not as good as Nemo for sure, but it answers some questions like that we didn't really need to know the answer to, but they still aren't questions where we're all like, oh, I didn't need to know the answer to that. But there are still questions that are interesting to know the answer to. There's a lot of emotional moments. There are some funny moments in this movie too. The characters that they add in are okay. They're hit and miss. Some of them are kind of jerks. Some of them are just too happy, yay about everything. And so yeah, Find Dory deserves this place up here. Arguably one of the best sequels. Well, no, it doesn't beat the Toy Story sequels, but yeah. And also, yeah, I really like a lot about that movie. Cars 3. I really, really liked this one a lot more than the rest of the Cars movies. Actually, should I go up here in the piece? I really did like a lot of things in this movie. I really, really liked the themes in this movie. The themes were really good. The story wasn't the best, sir, but the themes were really good. I liked how it was kind of like a memorial for Doc Hudson. I really liked, the humor was hit and miss. Once again, they didn't do enough Mater. That's kind of they had Mater in a couple scenes, but I'm sorry, this is a hard one for me. But first, does it can't be good dinosaur. Okay, I hope that's his final resting place. So yeah, its emotions are pretty good too. Lightning isn't as unlikable as he is in the first two. Like, he doesn't have as many unlikable moments. And not everybody is like a complete idiot. Okay, Coco. Are you better than Ratatouille, Coco? Okay, Coco is a movie that I'd probably recommend to anybody. Out of all these movies, I'd probably end up recommending Coco to anybody. I don't know why Coco, but it's a movie I've seen countless amounts of times, and I love it. The characters are really good. The interactions are good. The humor is, once again, hit and miss. Like, there are some moments in it that make me laugh, but I don't know, like, there could have been more humor. It's supposed to be a more serious film, so, and, there are definitely a lot of, emotional moments. It nearly made me cry in the theater when I saw it. So yeah, a lot of good things about this movie. The plot is really, really good. The plot is pretty dang good too. It's not the best out of Pixar, but it's definitely a really, really good movie. Now, Incredibles 2. I, I'm not as entertained with this movie as I am with some of the other ones. Like, I was kind of bored at some scenes and just kind of waiting for it to be over. Like I was with, and like Incredibles did this to me in a couple of scenes, but I still actually think that's a good movie. Well, actually, I don't think well, no, I didn't actually get bored of Incredibles. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze here. Uh, so, I do not like it as much as Incredibles. Didn't keep me as entertained. The plot isn't as good. They don't have as many darker themes in it. I know a lot of people that put this on par with the original Incredibles. I'm not one of those people. Now, Toy Story 4. I'm starting to wonder if Monsters University should even be up here on indices. But Toy Story 4 is a movie I was kind of disappointed with. I was hoping for a lot more in this movie. Like, they totally goofed up Buzz because before he'd always stick with the family. He'd always stick with the other toys, treat him like family, and do everything with them. But in this one, he constantly listens to like the buttons in him, like he calls his consonants. And like he ditches Woody in one scene. So yeah, that's not really something that Buzz would do. And uh, there's like Buzz already went through his like kind of like stupid moment with like his I was Blaze Rangers stuff, but and then boy, there was something else I did not like about this movie. The plot isn't the best out of all the Pixar movies. The themes are okay. I liked the characters that they added in. I didn't really like Duke Kaboom that much. I didn't find him as entertaining. I thought it was kind of pointless. I thought the Key and Peele ones were funny. The Key and Peele toys were funny, but I didn't find them. But they were once again kind of pointless in my opinion. Forky was the only character that they added in that actually did something with the plot, honestly. And then, but Gabby is probably one of the most relatable villains out of all of these things. Like, she knew like the scenes with her nearly made me cry. Her motivations were really, really good. She's not that much of a villain. Like, and to me, it's kind of like Jessie from the original movie. If she was a little bit more determined to make herself not go back into storage and stuff. And the humor is hit and miss. So yeah, I do not love this movie, but I do not hate it either. Onward. Very, very good breath of fresh air after all of these sequels. And after all these C's, T's, and F's and stuff. So, a lot of humor. Uh, Not to play inside of all the Pixar movies, but it's definitely has some funny moments. Let's see. Like I liked how they changed up the plot from movies that are kind of like, oh no, not this thing again, like not the crappy stepdad again. But in this one, like the stepdad is actually very, very likable. Like the main characters are just having trouble moving on, and good adventure for sure. I think it's definitely the most adventurous movie out in this world. Um, I might actually say which one's the most adventurous at the end of this video. And then I really, really like the characters. The plot is okay. The emotion is really, really good near the end. Like I remember me and my family also that we nearly cried at different scenes at the end of the movie. Like we all said, I nearly cried at this scene, and I said, oh, I nearly cried at this scene and stuff. So there's definitely a lot of emotional moments in this movie, and I really, really like a lot of things about this movie. I actually remember seeing this one a week early too, so that was cool. Yeah. So yeah, it deserves its place up here. There are a lot of things I like about that one. So, I hope all of you agree with my list here. I know not everybody would agree, but I hope you understand why I chose to put everything where I put them. And uh, I do not want to forget to say this again. I filmed this video yesterday, but I made a couple mistakes. I decided to redo it. And that is, if you have an anime movie that you tell me your favorite anime movie in the comments section, because I might do a list like this again in the future, if again in like a few weeks, if I get like 5 animated movies in the comments section. So yeah, have a good week everybody. Thank you for listening.